Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Monday Show. I'm Skari, your grateful host, and this is the show I do every Monday for Patreons. That's right, this is the bonus exclusive show. Once in a while, I do it for all of you just to make you all jealous of how awesome the Denizen community is and all the cool extra content that I put on for patrons as a thank you for supporting me and what I do. And this is the Monday Show. So it's like a podcast, but better. So sit back, relax, enjoy. We're going to talk about things that matter to me in the hobby, things that I've been doing. It's like a little update show. And then we go over the patron submitted questions. The denizens submit questions about all sorts of topics. And then we break them down. And we talk about them. And I give you my thoughts and a whole bunch of different stuff. And as the game flows and continues, we just make things happen. So it's really exciting. I really enjoy this part of the week is one of my favorites when we get to just hang out and chat and get to know you. Of course, if you're in chat, you can leave a chat down below. And if you're watching the video in the repeat, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you learned something from the show and leave a comment, like this video, and share it with your friends because it's like a podcast, but better. I've got a variety of things happening this week, which is exciting. So let's start with things that matter to me in the hobby this week. I should have like little segments like a talk show where I get to talk about specific things that happened. Anyway, this weekend was a pretty standard weekend for me. I ended up going to the CN Tower for the first time ever. Took my son all the way up, 114 stories or whatever it is. It was very tall, and they have glass, glass paneling to walk on, where you literally see to the bottom of this tower, and it was terrifying because I'm not a fan of heights whatsoever. And we also went to the aquarium in Toronto, Ripley's Aquarium, which it was really cool. I love like seeing all the sharks and stuff, and just kind of going through a little tunnel where you just like underwater tunnel thing. It's really really neat seeing all the fish swimming around and learning about fish and stuff. It's great. I do enjoy it. There's also this really cool part at the end where you walk through and you see all the filtration systems that they use, and it's like this massive warehouse of just like giant filtration systems, and they kind of explain how they keep everything, and they've kind of built that right into the exhibit. So it's kind of cool that you kind of see all of that working as it goes, which is neat. Yeah. So hobby-wise, I've been working on the Skaven. Anybody who's been following my Instagram or stuff, see, Skaven. Look at that. That is a sensor bearer, slowly getting done. Now I've decided to go, and I've been painting this entire set using Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl paint line. This stuff is fantastic. I like a lot of people use the Pro Acryl white, but I've been using the jade. Like jade is one of my favorite colors that they make. But like camo green and the dark silver and the dark golden brown and the bronze, which is like a really nice bronze. It's not too bright. It's like really brassy bronze. The light umber and the dark, was it dark black brown, which I'm using for the wood areas and stuff. All in all, it's been really fun to essentially paint this entire thing using colors and stuff that I'm not used to. So right now I'm just doing the base coating, then I'll probably do a wash, then I'll kind of go over it again. But it's designed to be quick, fast, and so far I've been very pleased with the results. On the opposite end of the spectrum, hobby-wise, and you can let me know what you're working on. I've also been working on the Lancer that Games Workshop sent me, because I didn't really get time to do it before release, but I did build it, and now I'm actually working on it as well, right? Pow, with the giant lance. I actually got to play against my brother this weekend, and I got to use this guy, this bad boy. Got to use him against my brother and his Astra Militarum. Basically, it was like a little 1,250 point game, and I took a knight. That's right, I'm that guy, um, which was really really awesome, as well, too. This didn't save, eh? That's a bit of a pain in the butt. Okay, there we go. Now we're good. Hopefully that changes things. But yeah, hopefully you're all having a good time with that as well. So anyway, that's just really fun and entertaining. And that was kind of what I did. And then we had, like, other than that, I've been kind of working on some Black Templars that I've got on the Paintworks. I've been working on a bit of terrain here and there. Today I had another battle report in the studio, which was really fun. I played against Space Marines. We played 1,500 points, and this is really cool. I learned this from Luca at Mini Wargaming. So Mini Wargaming Luca has been doing this cool thing with the 10 points for battle ready. So because we basically are always painted all the time, it's like you get 10 points. It doesn't really add anything to the game. And so what he decided to do was he's come up with this cool thing where he gets he puts like, if he does the old slay the warlord, first blood, and line breaker, but not first blood, it's first strike and then line breaker. And I've decided to add that into like my friendly bat reps, not the competitive bat reps, the friendly ones. So instead of just giving 10 points for best, like for painting, you get 4 points for slaying the enemy warlord, you get 3 points for behind enemy lines, and you get 2 points for first strike. So it's a total of 9 potential points, but it basically gives you something to do with tertiaries, and it's really cool. It brings back so many cool flavorful memories of like back in the day and stuff. Hello, welcome Nurgle Matthew, Ramuzaru. Do you only stream on YouTube? No, I do Twitch as well. I've been doing some Total War on Twitch lately. Total War Warhammer or Dawn of War Soulstorm. So yes, I also do Twitch. There's actually like a full link thing in the description. You see all the links to all the different socials that I do and stuff like that. Hello, Nikki, and hello, Guillaume. How's it going? Thanks for coming and hang out. Now, for anybody who's new to the channel, this is the Monday show. It's a stream I do for Patreons every Monday. And yeah, I have a good time with it. Sometimes I open the vault and make you jealous and show you what the cool stuff you're missing because you're not on Patreon yet. And then I go over Patreon questions, which is super fun. So I did want to talk a little bit about the game that I played with my brother, because like he came up to my house. He drove all the way up on Saturday night, and we basically just chilled and we hung out. We haven't played a game in like a month because his work schedule got all crazy. But him and I play a game usually once a month, and we don't film it. I don't really take any pictures. That game is just for him and for me. And it's a great sort of like reset in the world of creating content because it's like a nice, just touch base, reset, play something with no stakes. Hey, Bo, what's going on? You know, and there's nothing like too crazy about it. And so, you know, we got my son Ollie to set up the table, and he literally, because all my terrain's actually at the studio now, he ended up kind of grabbing some of the hodgepodge pieces of terrain that I have lying around the house, and he made like this. So it was a table that had like, you know, a piece of fantasy terrain and like a little hill and a crater. It's like the most ad hoc hodgepodge terrain since we were kids, and it felt really nostalgic because we were like, it's all really crappy terrain or whatever, and so then we ended up playing. We played 1,250 points, which isn't quite 1,500, but isn't quite 1,000 points. It's like a nice little medium. And that's when I decided to bring up my wonderful knight. And the game devolved into how quickly could he kill my knight. And when the knight died, which he did kill it, there was much rejoicing. Yay! In the meantime, working on this game, of course, because we're doing a little slow grow league, and it's 500-point games right now till mid-month, and then it goes to 750-point games. But we're trying to play games of Age of Sigmar at the store. Actually, the Tabletop Forge is like running this little grow league, which is really nice. And yeah, just playing and stuff like that as well. Hey, George says I made the live show for once. The Monday show tends to be on a pretty set schedule. Like I do the Monday show and then we've got the second exclusive video that I do every week for patrons, which is List Crunch. And that usually happens on Fridays. However, I'm thinking of moving it to Thursdays, schedule pending. So, exciting. Other than that, if you have any questions, make sure you post them in the chat since we're all here live. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming to hang out. And let's dive into some of the patron questions. Pow! That's right. This is really cool. So, and Andrea Spotty asks, I participated in the WIT, the Italian qualification for the World Team Championship this weekend. Very nice. Playing your list with Urien. Oh, cool. I'm glad you liked it. In the fourth round, I played against Chaos Space Marines with three Dark Communes. Yeah. I was surprised how well 6 Talos and 3 Venoms could handle so many models, especially if Urien manages to kill the Icon. Yeah, in the last round I played against Tau. It was a problem. I spent the entire game trying to escape from his crisis suits, attempting to deny the shooting phase to prevent extra movement. In doing so, we ended up playing with the table turned. Yeah, so you flip the table. Nice. What do you think is the best way to deal with crisis suits? He played 2 units of 6 and 1 of 3. Thanks. So when it comes to Tau crisis suits, there comes a point where I just rush him with everything because he can't kill absolutely everything. Like Tau can't really split fire if they really want to take advantage of their sustained fire dice and stuff like that. Another thing is your Talos Haywire are incredible against crisis suits. So as soon as he should be more afraid of your Haywire than you should be of anything else that he has, because if you do each Talos will do 6 to 9 damage on average, which is like a crisis suit and a half. So 3 units of Talos should kill 4 to 5 crisis suits in a single shooting phase just with Haywire. So if you can keep those Talos alive, that's really how I deal with crisis suits. Really. Hey Sindri, what's going on? Yeah, so that's kind of like my tech. And it was really funny when I played Richard Siegler, and I went down to the early in the edition. I went down to the stream house in Florida for the Art of War, and the first couple of times I played a couple of Talos, and even just the 2 Talos I was running was enough to terrify Siegs. Because other than that, I just shoot Dark Lances at them. Yes, of course, they're not going to always be out there, but they can only fire and fade 1 unit. So you can really use the threat of jumping out with the 6 Talos on one flank and just, it's a 31-inch threat range with movement and shooting. So, you can really dictate where they can go. Because as soon as they pop out, you're like, okay, here's, 12 Haywire shots and your old vehicles. And you don't get a save against this. It's just, I'm just going to shoot you a lot. So it can be pretty handy for that. So that's kind of how I would do with that. Talos are terrifying, says Sindri. For Tau? Heck yeah. Those, especially against vehicles. Talos are, vehicles hate Talos. Just, that Haywire cannon is just so good. Thorben says, I'm Agent of Vect. Played 2 to 1 on a day. Nice. On a day-long tournament. That's exciting. Well done. That's good. 2-1 at a single event, single day tournament. I think what I want for my birthday, for anybody who plays Dark Eldar, is to take Dark Eldar to an event. It'd be nice to see the representation of the faction go up. Please! That's what I want for my birthday. I want everybody who owns a Dark Eldar army to take it to an event in January so that we can make the state of the faction look less pitiful than it is. Talos is amazing. Talos are just really, really good. But I hope that helps you, Spotty. I really do. Okay, on to the next one. Riz McDonald. Rise? I'm going to say Rise. Have you played against sisters with 3 times Arcos? Any advice to handle those units? Okay. Arco Flagellants. Yes, I did actually. Yes, I played against 30 of them. Yes, and guess what? It's the next battle report coming out this week. So, yeah, I did. I played against the sisters. Basically, the list that won the LGT or the Coventry Open. Which one was it? The Coventry? It was basically the list that won Coventry in the States. Yeah, Dark Eldar for Skari, exactly. So the key to killing the Arcos is you have to wait for your opponent to commit them and then kill them. That's the thing. And you sort of have to, they were really good, but the Talos were better. Like flamers were really good into them, just volume of fire. The thing about Dark Eldar is we have a ton of shooting. Like the infantry isn't an issue. You know, we can kill infantry. Like when you have 3 venoms filled with dudes, little rifles everywhere, 6 twin-link Leucofire guns, Urian Rakar's flamer, like you can kind of deal with 1 unit of Arcos at a time, and still have enough left over to like we killed each other a lot, but it's about using the right weapons for the job. Like the Dark Lances and Haywire could target all the tanks, and then all the Splinter Cannon fire, the Shredders, like grenade stratagem. Like you basically need to pick like 1 unit Arcos and like focus on it and move on. But that's no different than any other unit you're playing against. And then you should have enough left to charge into them, or you know. But the Talos weren't super afraid of the Arcos, especially if you charged them. Like the Arcos came into tons of wounds, but they're not like the Talos really help. Like they're such a good unit to just be like, when in doubt, just put Talos in front of it, because on the off chance, usually the Talos will survive, and then it gives you some breathing room, which is super important. Hey Alex, what's going on? Happy Monday to you. That's kind of what I would say. The keys: don't let yourself don't let the Sisters of Battle like deep strike Calidus assassins and cultists like little crusaders everywhere. Keep them in front of you and just kind of try and focus your strengths on like a part of the table as you turn the game into hammer and anvil. Hold your primary objectives and then push in to the secondary stuff. But that's kind of how I would do it. Yo, Skari, got a day off after our 22 5-man team tournament here in Sweden. Very cool. Getting some serious hobbying done. Oh, that sounds amazing, Pump. Great. That must have been a huge event. 22, it's a 150 person, 160 person event. That's pretty big. That's really neat. Okay. Moving on. No, sorry, 22, that's 200, 110. Yeah, 110 person. Pretty big event. Monday show being icing on the cake. Nice. You finish up that wonderful hobbying day with the Monday show. A podcast, but better. Like a podcast, but better. I think that's like the catchphrase for the show. But thank you for your question, Rise. Hopefully that helps. George asks, it's said that you often learn more from losing than winning. I say that a lot. How would you advise those trying to learn from their losses in 40k? Well, that is a fantastic question. So I'm going to take a little bit of time to digest that question in my mind's eye, because it's a real talk. Like talking about learning when you've lost a game is a real talk. It's like a real conversation that one has to have with yourself. So the biggest thing about how to learn from a loss. So I think one of the biggest obstacles, or one of the most crippling obstacles that folks have when trying to learn from a mistake, is they blame the dice. And that is the number one thing that I would say as a coach, because coaching 40k, I've been coaching players play 40k for 5 years or so, and it's the one thing, like one of the biggest things I would say is you cannot blame the dice. Number one, like the dice cannot be a factor, because in order for you to learn something, you have to be able to control it. Dice are a random dice generator on a little cube, right, that generates a dice randomly from 1 to 6, a number randomly from 1 to 6, and that over the hundreds of dice you roll in a game, you will find that it will roll just as many 1s as you roll 6s every single game. If you kept track of all the dice you rolled all game long, you will more than likely find that it's about average for the 150 to 200 to 300 to 500 dice to 1,000 dice you roll every game. Now, where they show up, right? Like you need a 6 and a 1 shows up. Okay, fine. Like where they show up gives you the illusion of it being like bad luck or good luck, right? That's just illusion. Buy yours now, link below, says Sean. But dice, okay? You have to keep them in your back pocket, nice and warm, and then they're nice and warm when you roll them, and they roll well. That's how it works. Hey, Def Pina, how's it going? Thanks for coming to hang out on the live show. What to learn when you lose? Get good, scrub. Get just as that. So that's the number one thing. You have to look at it critically, and sometimes you can't do that right after a game. Like you need time to decompress. You have to be like, okay, I need to step back from this game for like 2 seconds. You're done the game. You're like, F this game and the freaking the horse it rode in on. This game is stupid. I hate it. I don't want to play anymore. Right? And we've all had those games because you just feel like you couldn't catch a break and nothing went your way. And then you're like, the dice. They were so bad. Okay. Take a chill pill. If you want to be learning, you cannot speak that way. That's just not you're not going to learn anything. Because most people are like, that's not my fault. Therefore, if everything was good, I just couldn't control anything. Worst way to learn. So you have to sort of take a step back and then ask yourself one or two things. That's it. One or two things that you go, if I would have changed this, which I could have controlled, what was the thing that could have had the biggest impact on the game itself? So a lot of the times it can be something as simple as, if I didn't charge that unit, I would have survived and held that objective, which then would have been a 5-point swing. Then he has to use that unit to come get me in his turn. So then the other unit that he killed because I had died survives, and then it can do something next turn, which gives me another 5 points, and then I win that game, right? So something as simple as that. Or it could be something like, I should have not split fire, which is one of the most common mistakes I see people make. I should have not split fire and put all of my Dark Lances into one target, and that was it, right? But they didn't, and they go one here, one here, one here, or they go, this Cavalite squad is going to shoot Shredder here, Blaster here, Dark Lance here, Splinter Cannon here. Worst thing you can do. Like, I didn't kill that one Space Marine on one wound, even though I shot all 10 of my little piddly rifles at it. It should have died, mathematically speaking, but the dice, man. No, if you want to kill something, you just shoot everything at it. You overkill everything. So I would take a look at it and go, okay, that's a lesson in don't split your fire. And one of the best ways to do that is talk to someone about it. Like, find a mentor, find somebody who knows the game well, or somebody who watched the game, and just talk about it. Is there any one thing that I did that would have changed? And sometimes your opponent will say, man, your dice sucked. And you're like, no, I don't want you to tell me about my dice. What's one thing that you saw that I did that I could have changed that would have annoyed you, right? That would have made the game harder for you to play against me. And they'll be like, oh, well, you deployed this unit on this side of the board, where if it was on this side of the board, it could have come up this way and threatened this area, and that would have been better because there was more terrain to hide behind. And you go, okay, that's one thing I could have controlled. So instead of trying to relearn the entire wheel, or just learn from scratch, try and just pick out one or two things. That's my advice when learning from losses in 40k. Don't try and change everything. Just try and pick out one or two things you could have controlled. That then would have had a bigger impact on the game, right? Pump says, think 3 turns ahead. Simple as that. Yeah, sure. It's easy to say, right? Yeah, no problem, George. Thanks a lot for the question. I really appreciate that. Okay. Fish Eyes asks, what tools do Dark Eldar have for dealing with the new Necron Codex? Good question. Depends what detachment they're running, but the pretty standard, a Talos. Honestly, Talos are just the answer to most questions right now because they're so chunky, and I love them. They're so good. But I think one of the biggest things about the new Necron Codex is understanding that mechanically it's a lot easier to play against Necrons now because their resurrection has kind of switched and it's not as obnoxious as it was before, which is a big deal, right? They don't just instantly resurrect millions of times over. And then their resurrection orbs are different and that sort of thing. So you can play a similar build that you were playing I also think witches are really good into Necrons, but most competitive Necron builds are going to see like a bunch of wraiths. So you're just going to have to shoot blasters and dark lances at them and grenades, and then send Talos into them, and the Talos will kill wraiths. You know, that's just kind of how that works. When discussing how to improve dice rolls, yeah, exactly. Yeah, dice rolls should not be something you discuss when you're trying to improve, right? Um, so when I coach someone, you know, one of the things that I try and teach a coachee is to change the mentality from all I need is this roll, right? You know, all I need is this roll to make something happen, right? To change the mentality from that style to I've done everything I can do that I can control. Now let's roll some dice, right? So it's about changing the ownership, right? Staying in control and being like an active participant in the game instead of being like, well, all I need is this 9-inch charge, right? But if I go, well, I've done everything I can do in my control, which is set up for 9-inch charges, right? I just need to make one of them, but I've set up as many as I physically can to try and make it happen. So I've done everything in my control, and then let's roll the dice and see what happens, right? And then there's a big, big shift in mentality when it comes to that style of thinking. But fish eyes, hopefully that helps. Like, honestly, don't change it too much. Just Talos really help. Move blocking is great. Beastmasters, beast packs are very good into Necrons because you can like move block areas of the battlefield. And then just as always, it's about your target priority. So try and kill the small supporting elements first. You know, bikes, little single destroyer units, like little units of Necron warriors that aren't 20 strong, like the smaller 10-man units, you know, things like that. 5 strong flayed ones, 5 strong death marks, little units of, you know, just try and kill all of those things, as well as pointing the haywire at their tanks, and then their tanks just crumble with haywire, right? So it's very, very cool that way. I roll an unnatural amount of ones. Sure, we all do. It's just some people notice the ones more than they notice the sixes. I'll challenge you to don't acknowledge your ones. Acknowledge your sixes only, and in 6 months you will see how many sixes you're rolling instead of how many ones you're rolling. It's wild how that shift in mentality helps you focus on the positives. But thank you for your question, Fish Eyes. Bo asks, hey, any general advice on how to play against threat overload style armies, like Chaos Space Marines or Black Templars, for example? This is a great question. I think Ola over here, says, I'll jump into this. Any specific advice against orcs? So those two were like a combined question. So yeah, threat overload lists are one that basically like just jump at you, right? They've got tons of stuff, really high pressure, like Templars and whatnot. So 2 main things. Well, three, four, 5 main things. So a few things to keep in mind when you're playing into high pressure lists. Number 1, keep a cool head. Stuff your list with sustained, lethal, and devastating wounds. As many as you can. That's the only rules that matter, folks. The 12, this is my 12, this is my 14, this is my 15-step plan. I couldn't kill Angron with 14 Dark Lances. That's fine. Don't worry about it. You're literally, like, don't worry about it. It's one game of many. Just dice or dice. You know, don't worry about it. Just try and focus on the positive things instead of the negative things. Like that one time that bolt pistol killed a Land Raider. That's the thing I remember. Okay, so moving on. Bo, so a couple of things to keep in mind when playing aggro style list. Number 1, cool head. Even though they literally rushed 6 8-bound in your lines, and your 8-bound have charged and tagged a bunch of stuff, and you're like this, and they're in your deployment zone, and you're like this, you cannot panic. That is the number 1 thing you have to fight, the fight or flight or freeze response. It's like this natural lizard brain response, right? Wow, what's going on? You have to take a deep breath and relax and kind of take a step back. So cool head. Focus on one thing at a time. Because the high pressure lists are exactly that. They're designed to put so much stuff in front of you that you will crack under the pressure. Sean says, "I'm not panicking, you're panicking." Right. It feels like when I went to the Toronto Winter Open. No, I went to the Beer and Pretzels Open 2 weekends ago. And I was playing on a team, and my team put me into Orcs, and this is the first time I've played into Orcs in the new edition. But it was my Dark Eldar, right? My competitive Dark Eldar build into Orcs, and this Orc had 6 trucks, had 2 units of Boar Boys, had like Storm Boys, had Grots, had multiple War Bosses, had like all this pressure, right? And they went first, and they literally moved up the board. And I'm looking at this and going, holy crap. There is a lot of shit in this army. Woo! There's a lot of stuff I gotta kill. So I didn't try and kill everything. That's the thing, is you cannot try and kill everything. Keep a level head. Number 2 is move block is your best friend in that kind of build. Move block, move block, move block, move block. So 5 Kabalite warriors strung along a line, right, between a building and, I don't know, another building can stop a truck from moving that way, can stop Boar Boys from moving that way, right? So move block. Sometimes you have to sacrifice 5 or 10 Kabalite warriors to like create a big line, right, and just move block a flank of the army. Which brings me to the third point. When playing against high pressure lists, you move block one side to prevent it from being able to support the other side, and then you hit the other side as hard as you can. So you essentially split their army into 2 or 3 sections. You move block 1 or 2 sections so that those sections cannot get around to support the flank that you're crushing, and then you put as much effort as you can into as little of their army as possible to just make sure it's dead. And you do that 2 or 3 times, and that's how you deal with it. Right? So those are like the main tenets. Number 1, you have to take the pressure off yourself. Number 2, move block. Number 3, hit the side that you can as hard as possible, and you cannot let up. You have to go hard into them. So, did I hear panic or pancake? Pancakes. I make a mean pancake, by the way. Yeah. We don't struggle with variance. We laugh at it. Yeah, exactly. Mikey says, grudge everything. I grudge you. That's a grudge. Just put it in the book. That's a grudge too. We're going to put it in the book. Wah says, very wise. That's exactly how orcs deal with some world order builds, since they can advance and charge all game. Exactly, right? Like when Helberg moved 41 inches in turn 1 and 2 this weekend. Yeah, exactly. It can be crazy how far they can move up. Like Land Raider moving up, or advance and charge, or whatever it is. You just have to like move block. It's one of the reasons why with Dark Eldar I love beast packs, which sucks because beast packs you can't buy them, so you either have to make them or convert them or print them. But like beast packs are like the best move blocker because they move so fast. You can, if you go first, I'm sending that first beast pack onto a flank and just going. You can stay in your deployment zone. They're gonna die next turn, but you don't leave this line. And then I hit the side that's gonna be able to move up, so that. And then the next turn I move block again, I hit that side again, and then by that's 2 turns of me move blocking and hitting a flank, and that beast pack can really move block quite a lot. And then the third time I use like a Venom and a unit of Kabalites, and then I use another Venom and a unit of Kabalites turn 2 or turn 4, and then by that point, like my Talos are all beefed up already, and I've moved up the side, I'm holding my primary okay, and I've created space, right? Creating space is massively important in that style of game. That's how I deal with it. And now the more you practice it under pressure, the better you get at that sort of stuff. But thank you for the question, Bo. Actually, that's a very, very, very insightful question. By the way, if you haven't already, hit this video with a like so that the algorithm picks it up, and leave a comment in the comment section. It's free and it helps the channel out quite a bit. Not that many units in Craftable Eldar. Correct. So you have to use like your night spinners, right, to slow down 1 or 2 things in key spots, and then you're really using your Wraith Guard as like a move blocker. Essentially, you're like, Wraith. So you hit the flank as hard as you can with stuff that isn't Wraith Guard, and you keep the Wraith Guard as like the linebackers. They're just gonna take the hit, move back, shoot and charge, and then just take a hit again, and like that you kind of hope that they survive. Basically, is what it happens. Anyway, but that's kind of it's why I like MSU style builds. When you have lots of little crap you can throw into the opponent's army and like move block a bunch of stuff. Thank you for your question, Bo. So Nikki, on to your question. It says, "Happy Monday show day." It is Monday. How do you think the new Necron and AdMech codexes will affect the current meta state? Hey, Brian. At the Others 40k podcast. How's it going? Great chat and advice. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Brian. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming to say hi. So how will they affect the meta state? We'll see when points are like shown off, I think. I don't know if they showed off points yet. Anyway, I have personally played a game with the new AdMech, and I really liked a lot of the shenanigans they can do. I feel like they're like a little bit like Dark Eldar. A dedicated AdMech player is going to have all the tools they need to win games. However, Necrons will have more of an impact than AdMech, I believe. But I tend to be very wrong with this kind of prediction, so don't take my word for it. I tend to be terrible. I'll be like, yeah, this is the new thing. And then I get memed because I said chainswords are better than not chainswords. Come on. Barnyard Jack, hey, Scary. I'm sick as a dog. Hopefully you feel better, buddy. So you're keeping me company while I lounge around. Well, no worries at all. Hopefully your lounging makes you feel better. Yeah, there you go. Brian says, I'm tempted to go back to Necrons with a new... Tempted to go... Me? Is that a me question? Well, I don't own Necrons. You know what I mean? If I can borrow them, sure. Thing is, every time I play Necrons, and then I play John, and I beat him with Necrons, and he gets so upset because Necrons are his thing. Gets salty. Gets real salty. Which I love it. Big love to John Necron. Ida Eldon says, thank you for the things you do, Scary. Yeah, no problem. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. You're the reason I started the Darkkin. Big faction leader energy. Changing the meta state by 10% just by showing up to an event. Yeah, I know, Brian. Yeah, I guess, yes, Necrons are on the short list of armies that I will play. And there are a couple of really cool lists that I'm developing, which I will show all of you, maybe, at some point. Depends on if I get a chance to. But I actually really like the new Necron Codex. I think it's got me written all over it, to be honest. It's got lots of sneaky stuff. So to answer your question, Nikki, time will tell. The thing is, right now we have a points and a balanced data slate update due within the next, month or so. So it might change everything before LVO. I wouldn't be surprised if it just shuffles everything around. So we'll see how that works. So, the Sylvaneth looking killer. You mean my kids' Sylvaneth? Yeah, they look really cool. The September data slate brought some much needed balance to things overall. Yes, the game seems to be a decent place. Yes, yet armies like Eldar, Chaos Space Marines, Black Templars continue to reign supreme across the tourney scene. Yeah, Black Templars are the best, winningest Space Marine faction, but that's mainly because they get all the free multi-meltars on their tanks. Free, they do pay for them, but a little bit. Chaos appears to be the current meta winner. Yeah, Chaos Space Marines, I think, are the best army in the moment. Because they have all the rules, and then they get more rules on top of their rules to help them with the rules that they got because of the rules. And what do you think could or should be done next to balance the meta even further? Well, a couple of point updates, I think. Once we start getting all the codexes, this is the one gripe I have with Games Workshop right now, is their codexes are few and far between right now, and it sucks because it's literally they're releasing 2 codexes every 3 months. The 2 Space Marine, the Space Marine and Tyranids, and it's been 3 months, and now they're doing Necrons and AdMech, and then another 3 months will be another 2. I just wish they were firing out these codexes so they could get them all out quick, and we had time to play with them, and we didn't have to be World Eaters in 9th edition that got their codex for 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and then we're oh, new edition, everybody! Sucks to be ya! Ooh. Good thing we avoided that bullet. Silly. Hey, Northern Ice Gaming, what's going on? Did your kid a great job? Yeah. Like, not the ones from the latest Bat Rep, but the ones that I played with my kid. He painted those. Yeah, they look really cool. So, yeah, there you go. Hopefully you're feeling better. Hopefully you're feeling better, everybody. Yeah. Barnyard Jack. Watching the things AdMech players are coming up with is amazing. RIP everyone who has like 2 years of the index when it's basically soft. Right, exactly. That's what Dark Elder are going to be. Tons of index. Yeah. That's why I'm trying to do all the wacky things. I actually am going to a tournament this weekend at the Tabletop Forge, which is in Barrie if you guys want to come up. I think there might be a few tickets left, but it's a singles event, 2,000 points, and I am going to be running a Revenant Titan. Yeah, that's right. My Eldar Revenant Titan's coming out to play. It's going to be the Eldar Revenant Titan, Ivrain, because I'm going to make it an Ari, so I can take 800 points of Dark Eldar. So it's going to be 3 squads of Mandrakes, 3 squads of Scourge, a Void Rain Vommer, and a Cavalry squad and a Venom. It's going to be so fun. I'm very excited about it. Scary, what are you expecting from the data slate? Archon attaching to Incubi or not? Eldon, don't get my hopes up. I so hope the Archon could join Incubi. I also wish that our detachment did something. Anything at all. And maybe change the strats a little bit. Because yes, Dark Eldar need a shuffle. Let's just say that. They just need a little shuffle. A little bit of love. A little bit of like salty goodness, you know? Like, oh yeah, look at this. Yeah, or like, you know, like just please. That was short-lived, but glorious time in ninth for Guard and World Eaters for a whole month. I know. It was glorious. 4 months. I mean, 4 weeks. I brought 25 Incubi for 10th. Oh no, Rory. But you know what? I ran Incubi today with Drazar. They actually killed some stuff. Yeah, they've got some spice, but you have to like they just don't do what they used to do at all. Boy, yeah, 1 detachment rule, please. Anyway, Nikki, I hope that answers your question. Okay. Oya asks. Oh yeah, we talked about that one. So the last question of the day is Sean, who asks, Scary. That's me. Question for you. Now that you have officially joined the Stud or Scrub podcast, that's right, I did officially join the Stud or Scrub podcast, so make sure you check that on wherever you listen to your podcasts, where Dustin Henshaw and I discuss ins and outs of 40k every other week. I think is bi-weekly right now. It's going to be really cool. I'm the new co-host. Really fun times. But thank you, yes. Should we be referring to you as Scrubby? I think it has a nice ring to it. Follow up what you're going to do with all the money you save from no longer cutting your hair or shaving. That's funny. I do have the scrub going on. I'm booked in for a full barber experience this Thursday. So this is going away. I'm gonna shave it up. Looks gonna look fine. Gonna wear a nice little suit and tie and my fancy shoes, and then I'll be the fancy Archon again. But scrubby, I'm gonna veto that. No scrubby for you. You can hashtag it. Make a T-shirt hashtag. I love it. It does have a nice ring to it. But thank you for the question, Sean. It's a very light-hearted way to end the Monday show today. Northern Nights Gaming says, I'm enjoying the Guard way more now. More the index feels usable than most of the 9th index felt. Just take Plasma Tank, Casterkin. Yeah, I know. Plasma Tank and Vect it, says Sean. Yes, I Vect it. I Vect it, Sean. It's going to cost you an extra command point next time. Oh, wait, it's not a battle tactic. Foiled! Foiled again. Silly data slate. Well, folks, thanks a lot for hanging out with me today on today's Monday show. Of course, this is an exclusive bonus show that I do for patrons every week. One of 2 exclusive bonus shows for patrons as a thank you for supporting me on Patreon, which just happens to be the best way to support the channel as I create content. Without the patrons, I don't have a job. So thank you so much. You're amazing. If you'd like to support the channel, the link is in the description. There are 4 different tiers from $3 a month to $100 a month if you want full-on 40k coaching where I get to teach you everything I know about 40k. Other than that, you're all amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I will catch you on the flip side. The Dark Kin. Bye, everybody.